Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon, and we are on part 4 of the best boating lakes in the United States. And let's start with Lake Texoma. This is in the Texas-Oklahoma border, about 2 hours north of Dallas, 3 hours south of Oklahoma City. It's an 89,000-acre lake. 2 wildlife refuges, 12 marinas, 26 resorts, campgrounds, golf courses. It's got everything you could want, and it is a beautiful, beautiful lake. Lake Texoma. There's been some bad press. They've had some incidents in the last year or so. Boater safety is always a key, especially there. This is another place where boater safety is an important aspect. This is Lake McCone in Nebraska. Now, I'm from Nebraska, so I put it on the list. It's a 35,000-acre lake, 4 miles wide, 22 miles long, so just a long, narrow lake in the sandhills of Nebraska. Very flat, can get very windy. It can whitecap pretty easily, but just a big old body of water. You've got kind of these unexpected beaches that are an unexpected spot in the Midwest that if you're in that area, McConaughey can be a pretty cool spot. But because of all of the beaches, that they've had some incidents with a little too much partying going on there over the years. So next we move to Lake Placid in New York, 2 hours south of Montreal, 2 hours north of Albany. It is their source of drinking water, so they're very tight on their restrictions. Cleaning stations to protect against invasive species, 2,100-acre lake, and it's about just under 2,000 feet above sea level. If you remember, the Olympics were there back in the 80s, so it's kind of an odd-looking lake. You've got those big islands in the middle, the boating area on the side. You've got Buck, Moose, and Hawk Island are the 3 islands that are there, but just kind of the mountains in the background, the history of the Olympics being there, all of that stuff. That it's a cool spot. Next, we got Deep Creek Lake, which is in Maryland, 2 hours south of Pittsburgh, 2 hours west of Frederick, Maryland, and an hour east of Morgantown, West Virginia. It's 11 miles long, kind of that fingery lake that are a lot of these 1.5 miles wide. Or 1.2 miles wide, so not a super wide lake. 69 miles of shoreline, and this is just a pretty area. If you've been up to the West Virginia area, in that area, it's just a gorgeous spot. And with all of the hills and the mountains and the greenery, just very, very lush in Deep Creek Lake. Then we move down south to Kentucky Lake in western Kentucky and Tennessee. It's about an hour and a half west of Nashville, 3 hours northeast of Memphis. And Kentucky Lake is actually navigable to the Gulf. So you can get all the way from here through a lock system to the Tennessee River down all the way to the Gulf. It's the largest man-made lake by surface area, with 2,064 miles of shoreline and 163,000 acres. It's one of the lakes that makes up the land between the lakes. You can kind of see in this picture, this is Kentucky Lake, this is Barclay Lake, and this is the land of the lakes in the middle. And if you just a pretty area, some lighthouses, and just a gorgeous spot. Then we move to Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. It's about an hour southwest of Milwaukee, 2.5 hours northwest of Chicago, a 5,400-acre lake with 7.5 miles of shoreline. But the reason Lake Geneva is on the list is it's just this cool little area, but it's the mail delivery, the mail jumping, that they deliver still the mail to about 80 homes on the lake, and you can see they jump off the mailboat and they deliver the mail, and then they jump back on. They sell tickets. This is actually a company that contracts out to the Postal Service. They kind of just do it for entertainment now, but they still have 80 people on the water that do this mail jumping. Check out some videos. It's a pretty cool thing, and that's why they make the list. That's something I'd like to see. Then we move to Lake Winnipesaukee in the middle of New Hampshire, about 2 hours north of Boston, 21 miles long, 69 square miles, 288 miles of shoreline. So it's a pretty big open water, but it's got a ton of these little islands, 264 islands. It's got a speed limit on the lake because of that, 45 miles an hour during the daytime. But it's just kind of this quaint little area. That A-frame house that's kind of what I picture when I think of Lake Winnipesaukee, is just kind of a throwback to a cool spot with beautiful views. Just a getaway, a big getaway. Then we move just over a little bit to Lake George in the Adirondack State Park. 1 hour north of Albany, 2.5 hours east of Syracuse, 3.5 hours northwest of Boston, kind of in that area, but it's in the middle of the Adirondack Mountains. So you've got all these beautiful mountains around you, ton of marinas, 32 miles long, 2 miles wide, 45 square miles of water. And again, just like Winnipesaukee, it's got all these islands, 170 islands, and there's camping permits on the islands where you can actually get a permit to camp overnight. But just the beautiful mountains all around you, and all of that water. Lake George definitely makes the list. If you're a new boater, check out the Boater Bootcamp, boaterbootcamp.com. If you struggle with handling your boat, check out Best Boat Captain on the Water. If you've got your favorite lakes, let me know in the comments what your favorites are. And remember, life truly is better on a boat.